Okay then, good morning. Welcome to the first blog of 2013. Obviously, in the past, we've always tried to do this as a written blog. We're going to do it instead this time as a video blog. Exciting times for all, I'm sure. So, if you enjoy spending 10 minutes watching a guy with a cup of tea in his kitchen, you're in for a bit of a treat. So, what I thought we'd do as a difference for this year's blog would be, rather than just me sort of ranting aimlessly and you failing to post any comments, I thought what we'd do was look at things that have happened in my life over the last week and perhaps this time give a comment. Feel free. So, last night we went to the much anticipated first night of Les Mis out at the Tyneside Cinema. Now, it's one of these films that you can't really have failed to got some kind of notice of before. So, I sort of went in with 3, 4, maybe 5 basic ideas of what I thought the film was going to be like, based on all the reviews that I've read, all the other stuff I've seen. So, first things first, we thought it would be long, and it is long. I mean, it's the best part of 3 hours you've been in there for, which, you know, there are certain films that need that length. You know, Shawshank, Green Mile, Part 2 of The Godfather, they're all good long films. On the converse, you have got The Hobbit, so, you know, you have to face the fact that sometimes filmmakers these days do seem to be making films just purely to make them longer, which I'm not sure if I really agree that that's what was happening here, but we'll give benefit of the doubt. I mean, certainly at 3 hours, it is long, but it's not overly long. I think it struggles in the same way, if anyone watched Sweeney Todd a few years ago, struggled in the same way. Because essentially you've got a film of nearly 3 hours in length without an interval, which anyone who's a theatre goer knows that interval's quite important at times, to have a break and get a glass of wine if you need it. So I do feel that cinema, if it's going to start looking at these epic lengths of films, perhaps should start considering the idea that we, as punters, who are paying you exorbitant prices, could perhaps use a break halfway through. For an interview, trip to the loo, trip to the bar, we all need the kind of thing. So, that's point 1. Point 2, the singing voice of Mr. Russell Crowe, the acting talent that is. Well, from what I've been reading in all the reviews, people have been generally slating Russell Crowe's singing voice as not particularly good, and there is no getting around it. It is not particularly good. But I don't know. I mean, Russell Crowe is one of those actors that I've seen in dozens of films down the years, and pretty much I can count on things of, well, 2 fingers, the films that I actually like of his. I mean, there's The Quick and the Dead, and actually, yeah, The Quick and the Dead. There you go. So, for Russell Crowe to impress me would take quite a bit, and I'm not impressed, let's put it that way, but in the same way, I don't think he really deserves all the slating he's been getting, because he's not that bad. I mean, yeah, the guy, bless him, he can't sing, but he tries his best, he makes a good attempt at it, so you can't really fault him for that. He's trying hard, he certainly isn't terrible. I mean, you're not talking sort of Piers Brosnan and Mick kind of levels of ineptitude. He's not a good singer, but, you know, then go with it. He's a good actor-ish. So, Russell Crowe, okay, probably doesn't deserve all the slate he's been getting. Now, on the other hand, you've had the reviews of Anne Hathaway, who's been getting absolutely rave reviews for everywhere you can look, everywhere, basically every single review paper you read, with the exception of The Guardian, Peter Bradshaw. Apart from him, everyone's been praising Anne Hathaway to the high heavens, saying what a great acting performance this is, how she's absolutely nailed on for the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. I'm not sure I agree. I mean, undeniably, it's a very emotional part. that she's playing as Fantine. It's maybe 15-20 minutes worth of screen time, and that's about it until the end when she returns again. But basically, you're talking a performance of maybe 18 minutes, if we were lucky, of having her on the screen to get an Oscar for. But that doesn't preclude things. I mean, you look at Judi Dench in Shakespeare in Love, she was, 4 minutes, I think? So, short screen time, but not necessarily a reason not to give her plaudits, which she has been getting in spades. And, you know, her little song is very nice indeed. And I think my problem is not so much with Anne Hathaway's performance as the way Fantine as a character is developed. So, you've got Fantine, who is basically a young woman working in the factory belonging to Hugh Jackman, and for some reason totally unknown, she gets a letter from the innkeepers who are looking after her daughter, asking for more money. And her other machinists, for some reason, turn on her and cause a fight. And Hugh Jackman just sort of says to his foreman, "Oh, you sort this out." And the foreman subsequently sacks Anne Hathaway, because she has apparently in the past rebuffed him at some point. God knows why, but she has. So Anne Hathaway leaves and goes into a downward spiral of despair. Now, the problem with the film is this. That spiral is almost instantaneous. Basically, 1 minute Anne Hathaway's in the factory, she is sacked. Next thing you know, she is down in the dock selling her hair and going to get pulled out. Now, it does seem a bit of a quick descent into destitution and poverty to have gone from 1 minute having a job, next minute, oh my god, I must sell my hair and teeth and get into prostitution. And also beneficially, the backstreet dentist whom she sells all her teeth to, thankfully only takes out the back teeth, so she's still got her pearly white front teeth to smile and sing with, and you know, not all bad. But Fantine then goes into this spiral of despair in which she becomes a prostitute. And we revisit her a few scenes later on in which she's now attacking a client who is attempting to have his way with her. And she cuts him on the side of his face, and along comes Russell Crowe, and as his character is his wont, tends to want to punish, so he basically demands that she has to be imprisoned, and thankfully up comes Hugh Jackman, who saves her and takes her to hospital and says, no, I'll look after this. So, I mean, Anne Hathaway has been getting a lot of plaudits. You can't really ignore. And it's certainly not a bad performance. I mean, bearing in mind this is the woman who gave us that dreadful Yorkshire accent in One Day. It's nowhere near that level of appalling performance that you know she's capable of. She does do pretty well here. I mean, for me, there's a very, very fine line between good acting and hamming it up. And I do feel that at times Anne Hathaway does sort of fall on the wrong line of that, and the performance does become a bit hammy, because, yeah, okay, this is a terrible, terrible thing to happen to her. She's got a child who she's giving all that money to, she's turned into this emaciated woman with no hair and no teeth and whatever else, but it just seems she goes OTT. I mean, it descends into the operatic melancholy, and the musical and the opera, they're different things. With the opera, you can get away with all this over-the-top emotion. With a film like this, it's supposed to be serious and real, and I don't think you can as much. But having said that for her, she does give good value for her performance, and, you know, whatever I say, she is going to get that Best Supporting Actress Oscar, so, you know, good for her. Now, conversely to Anne Hathaway, there's Eponine, who is the young lady who grew up with Anne Hathaway's Cosette in the innkeeper's hut, or hovel, or town, whatever you want to call it. So, the two of them grow up together. Eponine is the one who's loved, Cosette is the one that's shoved it out. Now, years later, they end up coming back to Paris, in which the innkeepers are trying to make a living by fleecing tourists off the street, and Eponine is helping them, but she's fallen in love with a young revolutionary called Marius. Now, as is the way in these things, unfortunately Marius ends up falling in love with Cosette, and poor old Eponine, he never even really notices that. Now, the performance of Eponine in Les Mis is so much better than that of Anne Hathaway as Fantine, and yet everyone is talking about how great is Anne Hathaway as Fantine, but no one is mentioning Eponine and her performance. So, I just feel that, for my money, yes, Anne Hathaway is good value, yes, she's going to win the Oscar, but for my money, the best actress in that film is Eponine, by a country mile. She has a brilliant performance, and from the reactions that I got from people sitting around me, there were an awful lot more tears when the inevitable happens to Eponine than when it happens to Fantine. So, that's point 3. So, point 4, good God, Amanda Seyfried. Well, as an actress, I like her. I think she's a good little actress. I think she's an excellent, excellent screen presence. But there is a problem. Her singing voice, bless it. I mean, I am no expert in what makes a good singer. But I think I'm fairly safe to say that a good singer should not sound like a chipmunk on helium, which is precisely what Amanda Seyfried sounds like in this film. Now, undeniably, the girl can sing. I've been sure of this. But it's sort of jarring to go from the rich voices of Hugh Jackman, from Eddie Redmayne, and suddenly to be confronted with this warbling trill of Amanda Seyfried, who, like I say, I think she's a fabulous actress, but, oh, Amanda, please, just stop singing. Seriously, just stop. So, that's point 4. Point 5. Eddie Redmayne. Now, again, as an actor, I like him, but there is a significant problem with every time you see Eddie Redmayne on screen, which is his bizarre mouth. Now, I don't want to start picking fault with a film just based on the actor's looks, but with a mouth like Eddie Redmayne's, you can't really prevent but looking at it. It's certainly a prominent feature. And at times, there are dramatic moments, particularly when he's in his up-close love duet with Cosette, where sort of all you can think is, my God, his mouth is massive. But on the converse side to that, there's certainly a case to be made that Eddie Redmayne gives the performance of the film, certainly in his rendition of Empty Chairs, Empty Tables, which, you know, it had the entire cinema, myself not included, in absolute tears. Because obviously he's now... The revolution's failed, his friends have all been wiped out, he's been saved just, and he now comes back to the barricades to see all these empty houses and all this smashed up furniture, and he does give an incredible performance. It has to be said there that really was an amazing song. So, Redmayne, very good, weird mouth. Now, ultimately the film in itself it's undeniably an absolute triumph. You can't get away from that. It's a fantastic film. I would say chances are it's going to win the Best Picture Oscar. So, I fully agree. It should win the Oscar for Best Picture. It is a fantastic film, and I thoroughly enjoy it. The one downside for me, the major downside, was the performances of Helena Bonham Carter and Sacha Baron Cohen as Madame Monsieur Thénardier. They're the comic roles. They're there to try and break up the exceptionally dense and very tragic plot. I get why those roles are there, and from the laughter in the audience that I was with, you know, they did their job. Not for me, but for everyone else who was there. The issue for me is, I mean, Helena Bonham Carter, I've seen her being interviewed. She seems like an absolutely lovely woman, but my God, she seems to have just play every single role she's in exactly the same. You couldn't tell them apart. If you were given her roles of Mrs. Lovett, that thing she did in Harry Potter, and now this, it's the same damn character. Every time. All it is someone with slightly mad hair, screeching around and looking like Miss Havisham. Weirdly enough, the one time that she actually was meant to be Miss Havisham, she played it down. Why is that? So, I don't particularly... I've not got anything against the performance that she gives. It's just that every time you see Helen Bonham Carter in a film, you get the exact same performance. And I don't find it funny. I know there are those that do, and those thoroughly enjoy it. For me, I just don't like it. Now, I don't have so much against her. What I have the real problem with in this film is Sacha Baron Cohen's version of Monsieur Thénardier. I don't really get why he's doing what he's doing. I mean, when he's doing his speaking parts, he speaks in a sort of Cockney, London Sparrow kind of accent. And yet, when he sings, he decides to sing in a strange cod French accent for reasons that are never truly explained. Now, A, it's not funny. B, it's bordering on the racist. And point 3, why is he doing it? Why have these two voices? Why not just sing in your voice? I don't understand this. The whole point of the play is, yes, it's set in France, but everyone talks with a London accent. If you watch Alan Armstrong's version, when he's done that role, or when Matt Lucas did that role, both of them sung it properly in the correct accent. They didn't put on some weird French accent. So, for me, those two were the real two big negatives of a fantastic film that, as I say, it will win the Oscar Best Picture. There's no doubt about that. It's going to do it. Now, what we need to sort of sum up by saying is, great film, well worth watching, great performances. For me, the best actress has gone to the wrong person, but, you know, I'm not part of the Oscar committee, and obviously Anne Hathaway is very well known and does give great performance. It's well worth everyone going to see. Certainly the conclusion will have you storming out of the screening room and with a desperate desire to find a tricolour and plant it on something. So, ultimately, great film. Well worth seeing. A lot better than much of the crap around here. Yes, it's long, but I think it does manage to hold your interest. It's not like anyone who recently went to see The Hobbit, and that was just long for the sake of long, and it had no reason to be that long. This one, I'll be honest with you, I could have done it even more. Been even longer than it was. I would like to have some kind of explanation as to Fontaine's descent over a longer period of time, rather than just going straight from being sacked, selling her teeth. I'd also rather have had some kind of explanation as to why these students were out in Paris rioting, which we didn't really get. We sort of got the vague idea that somebody had died who was important to them, and they are concerned now they're going to rebel. But, in conclusion, great film, worth the money, go and see it. Just please stop hiring Helen Bonham Carter. Thanks.